So you're autistic, or you think you might be, and the question you're asking yourself if you're employed is, should I tell my boss? It's undoubtedly one of the hardest decisions you'll ever have to make. But as an autistic adult myself, who spent most of my working career feeling like an outsider, I would certainly say there are huge advantages to embracing who you are and having those tough conversations. Here are 3 reasons why coming clean and being honest with your boss about your autism is a good idea. I've lost count the amount of times I've built up the courage to speak to a boss about a topic that I was almost certain wouldn't be well received, only for them to know what I was already going to say. Depending on how you frame it, there's a very good chance that a decent boss will have already picked up on a lot of the traits that make you who you are. Remember, your autism is what makes you a great employee, and in so many ways, it's what stands you apart from your peers. In your mind, your autism can often be seen as a hindrance because it's often misunderstood by the people around you. But all your boss cares about is the quality of work you deliver. This means that even if you don't always value yourself very highly, your boss probably thinks you're a superstar. My advice for telling your boss you're autistic would be to plan what you want to say and lead with some of the traits you already know are on display. Acknowledge that you process the world differently from most of your colleagues and accept that sometimes this can be misunderstood. Make it very clear that you have the best interests of the company at heart and set the scene for what you're about to say. If you've already had an autism diagnosis, make it very clear to your boss why you felt the need to get it and what it's done for your mental health. Go into depth about how you felt over the years having to mask your true emotions, but always be clear that they've never made you feel like you couldn't be honest. It was more about how you felt about yourself. As an autistic employee, you have a unique perspective on the business that many others simply don't see. It's your superpower, but unlike many powers of flight or X-ray vision, your superpower can often be misunderstood. This is because your neurotypical comrades will often mistake that power for weird, rude, awkward, or disruptive. As an autistic adult in the workplace, it's very easy to start thinking that it's us against the world. Our colleagues ignore us unless they need something, and we're often the last ones to know about a work gathering or a pub lunch down the local. It can be a very lonely place at times. This isn't because most people are horrible or dismissive. It isn't because they wake up every morning and decide not to speak to us or to make our lives a misery. They simply don't know why we are the way we are. Your boss, although paid to ensure harmony in the workplace is maintained, quite possibly feels exactly the same way as everyone else. By having an honest conversation with them about your autism, you can enlighten them on why you do the things you do. Remember, people that have never spent time with an autistic person or been anywhere near that world simply don't know what to look for. Yes, there should be more training for businesses in 2024, but the reality is we're miles away from that ever becoming mainstream. It's up to us to educate our bosses and our teams and once and for all bring them into our world rather than us constantly having to fit into theirs. Being honest with your boss about your autism can and will grow the business. In almost every organisation on the planet, a particular way of working is deployed based on most people's version of success. In many cases, this approach can work for a while, but in just as many cases, that same approach will eventually become stale and redundant. Without fresh, out-of-the-box ideas that often only come from an autistic mind, those businesses can crash out of the market altogether. As an autistic adult in the workplace, we see things others don't. Sure, the delivery of our ideas might need refining at times, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we are uniquely placed to look at problems because we don't often work in the same linear way as others. With the right boss, an honest conversation about your autism brings immediate credibility to the suggestions that you're bringing to the table, whilst ensuring that you have the confidence to bring them to the table in the first place. With your boss knowing exactly why you say and do the things you do, there'll be a newfound certainty in accepting your ideas as relevant, rather than everyone just assuming you're being awkward. Of course, all 3 of these reasons to tell your boss you're autistic rely on you working for someone with an open mind. If you work for a complete tool that doesn't put people before profit, then run for the hills and find new employment fast. Thank you very much for watching this video and continuing to support the Unconventional Autism channel. I've taken a lot of the feedback on board with some of the editing and some of the topics that we've got coming up over the next few weeks. If you have got any value from this video or anything that we've put out on the channel, please drop a subscribe if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up and ask lots of questions in the comments for future videos. Stay unconventional.